it gets much worse and put more money back in your pocket. Trust me, I've been there too. Call right now.
Call 855-993-2096 right now. That's 855-993-2096.
Hey folks, welcome back to another episode of Biz Talk. My name is Rick Gutierrez. I am your host and your business advocate. Hey, every single week we are going to be here talking about business in general. We've got tons of different business professionals, business owners, business advocates that are going to be on the show just highlighting all of their knowledge in business. So we are excited about what we're doing. We're excited about the lineup of guests that we have. And I want to, just take the time to just congratulate every single business owner out there that is having great success, that have found some knowledge throughout their journey. And, what better way to pass it forward or pay it forward by, coming on the show and just having these conversations so that other folks that are coming on board as far as business and or business ownership, they can learn from us and they can learn from, those that have done it and have been there and, seen some challenges and found some success. So with that said, I've got an amazing first guest on the show that we're going to be talking a lot of great things. I want to welcome back Mr. Greg Schaefer. Welcome back to the show, sir.
Thanks for having me back, Rick. I appreciate it. Good to see you.
It's good to see you as well. I mean, last time we were here, we had a great conversation, and we just kind of touched a little bit on, some general aspects of the information security. But, you tell us a little bit more about vCISO Services LLC. What are you guys up to? What are you guys doing? What are you excited about?
Well, I formed the vCISO Services LLC in 2017 because I saw a need for small and mid-sized businesses to have access to the same information security risk management experience and knowledge that the big companies have. It's just that small businesses, medium-sized businesses, they really can't afford to hire a full-time chief information security officer. I mean, right now, the average compensation package is probably around $300,000 a year. Now, back then, the virtual CISO discipline was new, and I wanted to pivot my career to helping SMBs because SMBs, small and mid-sized businesses, they make up over 99% of the businesses out there. Now, a lot of them are single-person businesses, but still, it's a lot. 45% of employees are small business employees. So it's a very significant footprint there, which means that it's a very significant risk for the country's information security infrastructure and posture. Now, what we do a little bit differently than some virtual CISO providers is that our virtual CISOs either have been chief information security officers for a business full-time previous in their career, or still do it, and they do this as part of that as well, or they have a certification called the Certified Virtual CISO Level 2 or above, which is a fairly new certification, which basically one or both of those guarantees that the resources that we provide, they actually have the information security risk management skill set that you need as a small business owner. Because really, when all is said and done, our mission is to help. We'll only take on clients that want to build their information security programs, not just check a box for compliance, because we want to make a difference.
Absolutely, and it's all about making a difference, in the most positive way, setting up some businesses for success. But some of our business owners out there are probably wondering, how do you guys tailor some of your services to meet those unique needs for the small and mid-sized business?
Well, it all really kind of comes around to what the business is looking for. We had, for example, one instance where we had a very interesting project where business needed to become compliant with what they call SOC 2. The reason why they needed to become compliant with that was because they had customers that were asking for that sort of attestation, if you will, that they are keeping information secure. Now, this was a small business. At the time, they only had about 22 employees, and I'd been working with them for a couple of years prior, building their information security program pretty much from almost nothing. Now, when it came time for the auditor to come in and check to see, I guess if you can say, having a SOC 2 audit is a rather involved process, takes several months, very involved, checking to see what it is you're doing to meet requirements and are you actually doing those. But when all was said and done, the company was able to pass the audit without any issues. And in fact, the auditor said that it was one of the most prepared companies that they had ever seen.
That's fantastic. So it's all about, setting them up for success and ensuring that you meet, exactly what it is that they're looking for. And sometimes we don't even need to go beyond that. It's just what they're looking for, right? That's fantastic. So one of the other things that we wanted to know more about, Greg, with the rapid evolution of cybersecurity threats, how does vCISO services stay ahead of all the, information technology curve? I mean, there's got to be all kinds of knowledge that is just evolving every single day, if not every single hour.
It's kind of funny because yes, there is, but really, if a company is doing the basics right, and the basics really don't change much, then a lot of the other issues that come up, they can just be absorbed, if you will. Like one example would be, we talk a lot about generative AI right now, for example. It's like, okay, that is a new technology out there that requires some sort of diligence to understand the risks involved. But that's where then the old process come into play. Whenever we talk about a new technology or a new process or a new service, the first thing that we always want to do is assess the risk. That's one of those standard basic things of any information security program. So when it comes to generative AI, it's just a matter of, well, what do you want to use it for? What kind of information are you putting in there? Are there different ways to do it? How are you ensuring that you're not putting confidential information in a public generative AI platform like ChatGPT, for example? And looking at the basics there. So another one would be, for example, business continuity in the event of an incident. Well, yes, we have all these incidents that could happen because of things like deep fakes, for example, where people are pretending to be somebody that they're not and trying to get folks to do something that they normally wouldn't do. But if we have the basics in place about understanding how to attack and manage business continuity, what I mean by that is that if you have an incident, you really want to make sure that a couple of things are going to happen. The first is that as the incident is happening, that you're still able to conduct business. You see a lot of folks that have ransomware infections. Recently, it seems like that there's been a prolific expansion about that towards healthcare agencies. But you can't just stop providing healthcare. You can't stop treating patients. You have to have some sort of a plan in place to make sure that you're countering these threats. Same thing with small and mid-sized businesses. Make sure that you have the plan in place. And then the other one is how are you responding to the incident, because you want to make sure that you're able to recover from it. So you have to do those two things in parallel. Now, one other thing that we do is we regularly, the way I like to describe it is that we consume threat intelligence. And it doesn't mean we eat it. It means that we look for it, we understand it. If it's applicable to a particular organization, then we talk with the organization. And what I mean by threat intel is that sometimes it's just as simple as learning about something new. And believe it or not, LinkedIn is a very good platform for that because my colleagues might be talking about something before I am. But then it's also about understanding what they call the indicators of compromise, which are fingerprints, I guess you could call it, for bad things like malware and some other more detailed notifications in agencies like something like an Alien Vault or one of the information security and analysis centers provide that sort of thing. It is very important to keep up with this as the threat emerges, but really when it comes down to how you approach it, it's just all about the basic blocking and tackling.
Absolutely. So one of the things that you mentioned that I was kind of, it stuck out to me is like when an incident happens, right? Let's say an incident happens, prior to it happening, there had to have been some type of indication, some sorts of, glitches or something that was happening. In order to avoid an incident, what, aside from, getting a hold of Greg Schaefer with vCISO Services, what are some of those vulnerabilities that the small, mid-sized business owner should be looking for?
You need to be monitoring your environment, your network, and I always encourage folks to have a baseline understanding, a datum, if you will, of what your environment looks like. So we're very big about metrics and information security. Sometimes it's hard to define, but it isn't necessarily sometimes what the metrics are so much as it is the trending of the metrics. So you might look at, say, your firewall has 20,000 VPN connection attempts that were foiled like 1 month, and then 1 month it's 100,000. Well, why did it go up from 20 to 100,000? There's going to be a certain amount of background noise there, so it's not as if like the 20,000 is necessarily a bad thing. It's just one of those things. If you normally have 20,000, 20,000, 20,000 going on, well, then probably there's no indication that something bad is about to happen. But if suddenly something like that spikes, or if you start seeing more phishing emails come in, or if you see more attempts to get in through other ways, then it's something to look out for. And the reason why I brought up the VPN example is that that's actually a real thing right now in the financial services industry. Several of our clients, it seems like, that they're getting knocked on the VPN door more. We're not sure exactly what that means, except for that it probably means that they're trying to exploit financial services a little bit more.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. So it's just about me being cognizant and paying attention to all of those little things that you see as abnormal, but we get busy on a day-to-day basis as a business owner that we kind of not really pay attention, but they're crucial, that we pay attention to that. Greg, we've come to the end of this segment here, so we're going to take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back.
Do you have diabetes? If you have insurance, you may qualify for a new continuous glucose monitor. With a CGM, you can continuously track your levels and trends, spend more time in range, significantly lower your A1C, and share important data with loved ones and caregivers. Most importantly, a CGM eliminates the one thing most people with diabetes hate: painful finger sticks. Take charge of your health. Order your new continuous glucose monitor today. If you use insulin and have seen your diabetes care provider within the last 6 months, you may qualify for a CGM today. We'll do all the insurance paperwork and deliver your new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost to you. Medicare and most insurances cover continuous glucose monitors, so don't wait. Have your insurance handy and call the CGM Health Hotline now.
Are you nearly maxed out on your credit cards? It doesn't matter if you're using your credit cards for fun or to survive. At the end of the month, your statements come in, and you can either pay them or you can't. If you can't, late fees and interest rates get tacked on. And now you're struggling just to make the minimum payment due. Do you feel trapped? Am I talking to you? Good, because I personally researched some companies that can help you. They may be able to reduce your credit card balances by 50% and stop the late fees. If you qualify, please call our special debt hotline number right now for a complimentary free 5-minute consultation. Deal with your credit card problem now before it gets much worse and put more money back in your pocket. Trust me, I've been there too. Call right now.
Call 855-993-2096 right now. That's 855-993-2096.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. Not only can a CGM immediately reduce pain, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare or private insurance, you can see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. We'll also provide free shipping of your new CGM, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline to see if you qualify for a CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
How would you like to go on a 5-star vacation for just $99? We're talking about the quality of a Westgate resort for $99. Not for one night, but for 3 fantastic nights at one of their luxurious destinations across the United States. And you'll even get a free $100 Visa gift card just for making a reservation. We've got some of the choicest destinations that you'll love in the United States that you can choose from for just $99 for a 3-night stay. Take your family, take a special loved one, but get away. Go on vacation with Westgate Resorts. Call now to make a reservation for just $99, and you get a free $100 Visa gift card. Call Westgate right now and book your vacation. Here's the number.
Call 877-930-3491. That's 877-930-3491. Again, 877-930-3491.
Welcome back, folks. This is Biz Talks. My name is Rick Gutierrez. I am your host and your business advocate, always having conversations with amazing business entrepreneurs, business owners, business professionals that have just been in business for quite some time, and they're here to share their stories, their journey, and their experiences throughout all of that. So we're excited to have our next guest on the show. And, you know, she brings a ton of information in terms of, you know, law, particularly immigration. So we're happy to have Tamina Watson back on the show. Welcome back.
Thank you so much, Rick. I'm so honored to be here.
It is my pleasure to have you. We always have a great conversation. You know, last time you were here, we had a great conversation. We just had to bring you back to have additional conversations and topics. So thank you for coming back.
I'm so grateful. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. So I've got quite a few questions for you that I know that our audience are eager to get some answers for, but you know, let's just get started and we'll see where it takes us. What do you say?
That sounds fantastic.
All right. Well, what I said, you know, last time that you were here, we talked about your work with startup entrepreneurs. What can you share, you know, in recent examples of how immigration law services have helped businesses navigate through complex, you know, employment-based immigration and secure the talent, you know, in order to secure the talent that they need?
Well, this is a great question because when there is a business in the United States or anywhere, but I'm a U.S. immigration attorney, so I'll only talk about immigration in the U.S., there is a severe shortage of talent. And the people that I help are either founding their companies or they are hiring people for their own businesses. And that means there's a complicated assessment for each of these aspects on their business. Who owns the business? Where is the desired goal of the business? Do you need more people or do you need yourself to come to the United States? I recently went to Mexico in March and I met a lot of people who are expanding their businesses into the United States. So how do you figure out which is the right visa category for yourself and your team, and how quickly can you get here? So businesses have to go through a lot of initial explorations about the landscape of the immigration maze, but also take into consideration the status of their own businesses. Have you just started? Have you started a long time ago and you're entering the US market? Or you've been, you know, established in the United States and now you need to hire talent? Can you pay them? Do you have enough revenue? Have you raised enough money? A lot of my clients are raising money from venture funds as well as angel investors. Is there enough money in the bank to pay the salaries? Because all of these take into consideration the type of visa is the correct one for the business. So I start working with the businesses as soon as they have these notions of whether immigration is something they want to start looking into. And then once they've started, it becomes a very long journey.
Absolutely, and I absolutely agree with you in terms of, you know, the shortage in staff and the reasons why many businesses, many organizations are, you know, looking to go in this route to have conversations with you about potentially adding, you know, staff members and having to go through an immigration policy or something like that. So let's talk a little bit about the constant change in immigration, you know, rules, regulations, policies. How do you guys? I mean, you've got to stay reading on the books all the time, I would imagine, because things are always changing. So, what are you guys doing in terms of staying up to date with all of the changes in policy?
I'm so glad you asked this question because only over the weekend I was thinking I need to tell all my clients that you need to be extra prepared because the government, the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services, USCIS, actually made a lot of changes in April. On April 1st, the government changed all of their filing fees. There used to be a baseline fee, and you would add and subtract depending on the visa type. The government also made changes to where do you file the immigration case. The government actually has many immigration offices. There are offices within every state, but there are also service centers. Depending on your geographical location, you would actually pick one where your case should be assigned. But what happened recently is the government did a complete Tetris of where each type of case should be filed, but also the filing fees, as well as a couple of other pretty important changes. And as a result of it, it became very complicated to figure out where does this case actually go. When your visa is expiring, these cases must be received by the government by that date. So there are a lot of things to keep up on. And, Rick, you're really, absolutely correct that there's so much change that we as immigration lawyers have to be constantly on top of these changes. So where do I get my information from? Number one, the USCIS, United States Immigration and Citizenship Services, they actually have a website, and you can sign up to email, information, so you can get email into your inbox. But that is where I would normally go first for information changes. But as an immigration lawyer, there is also an organization called American Immigration Lawyers Association. And this association will also compile and consolidate information so people like me who are members can get information all at once. But the other place to get information are really from the actual sources of the law itself, the Immigration Nationality Act, where you look at the actual law as it was and look at the policy that the government has now brought up. So there are many ways to do it, but it is constant. And as an immigration lawyer, I can never take a back seat.
Absolutely, and I don't see you doing that. But I have, staying in the subject of being, up to date with policies and whatnot, I've got to ask you this because it's something that is, in front of us here. This is an election year, right? So when there is a change in administration, I mean, how much more do you need to be prepared for something like that? Because policies change when administration changes as well.
That's such a great question. Well, even before the administration potentially could change, there are a lot of changes coming down the pike from the Biden administration. So the administration matters immensely, and it's a really astute question, Rick, because the administration's policy will actually dictate how cases are going to be viewed and adjudicated, decided. So in the Biden administration, the administration made a lot of positive policy updates to say, if you are a STEM degree holder, we would really like you to stay. If you are somebody in AI, we would like you to stay. If you have skills in a critical and emerging technology, we would like you to stay. So there are many policies that have been updated through the Biden administration, but the H-1B visa that you might be aware of, which is one of the most popular visas for working professionals, that is going to likely see some restrictive changes coming in the next few weeks. So if H-1Bs really matter to you, then you must sign up to my blog, which is at www.watsonimmigrationlaw.com/blog, or connect with me on LinkedIn, because these are going to be fundamental changes that will make H-1Bs maybe likely more difficult to apply for. But that's within the Biden administration that is so positive with immigration. So if due to the election, if we have a new administration, it is quite possible that we will see very restrictive policies almost immediately imposed. There are news reports that have said that the Trump presidential campaign folks are already drafting executive orders, likely like they did before. They had a travel ban, a Muslim ban, they had interior enforcement, all different types of very restrictive enforcements, and we will likely see those. You may remember that there was a Buy American, Hire American executive order. And what was really surprising about that is it really started to restrict all types of work visas. So, how can I prepare now? That's a really good question. I think about that all the time. I can only prepare by making sure my network, my community, my clients are all aware. And between now and the election, anybody who can file a case, anybody listening to this episode, you must go file your application now if you're eligible. Do not wait until January.
So that's one of the reasons why I ask, right? Because we are in an election year and we just want to be as informed as possible. And this is the reason why we have these conversations with experts that are bringing this information to us and how they stay up to date with new policies and what is coming, what's coming down the pipeline that could potentially affect some of the, visas available and whatnot. So we appreciate you providing us with that information because it's valuable and you don't know who out there could potentially use this information, right? So let's talk a little bit about, we've got a little bit of time and we want to talk about, how you support businesses through your services to provide folks with staff. Have you seen a significant amount of growth and success in business by helping these businesses grow in staff-wise?
Mm-hmm. I love this question because one of my clients recently said, Tamina, you need to do this more. So generally speaking, when one of my clients have seen a lot of growth through their businesses, and kudos to these amazing people who are genuinely changing the world, but immigration makes a big difference to their teams. So I have helped people from starting their companies right from the beginning to scaling the company where they're trying to add team members, to also exiting the companies. How do they exit the company without losing their visa status?
Sure.
I want to take a quick moment to share my book, which is called U.S. Immigration Visa Guide for Startups and Founders. This book is divided through the various stages of businesses. I recently got a call from somebody who said, I'm still on my visa. I am selling my company. How can I stay here? We need to make sure people are prepared 10 steps ahead of where their business might go with their immigration status. So that's what I normally do. But my client recently said to me that they've been very creative as their business has grown to make sure that their staff members have solid immigration pathways. I have often been sitting in recruitment meetings so that my client and the employees know for sure what that trajectory will look like. And I'm doing more and more of these where the HR folks are not coming to me later on, but I'm a partner with them, hand in hand in figuring out how are we making sure that this particular employee has a long-term pathway with this company. So it's been really interesting to see how companies often become creative after talking to me about the framework of the law. And it's just been genuinely interesting and rewarding to see companies start from scratch and then grow and sell and do even more bigger things.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for covering that. You guys are doing some amazing work. Thank you for everything that you do. We want to thank you for being on the show again. I'm hoping that you found it enlightening, and thank you for sharing all of the information. So we hope to see you in upcoming shows.
Thank you so much, Rick. Very grateful. Have a good day.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you. All right, folks, we come to an end of a segment. We're going to take a commercial break. We'll be right back.
Do you have a car sitting around you want to get rid of? Well, here's a great idea. Donate your car now to help local veterans in your area. Yes, just make one fast call to the Veteran Car Donation Program. Within a few days, we'll come and remove your car for free. You can donate any car in any condition. We'll use our vast network to sell it. The proceeds raised go to help local veterans and their families. And you get a tax deduction. And all you need to do is make this free call. Clean your yard up, get rid of an old car, and help the vets. We make it easy. Make this free call now. Book your fast and easy pickup. Call the Veteran Car Donation Program now.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. Not only can a CGM immediately reduce pain, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare or private insurance, you can see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. We'll also provide free shipping of your new CGM, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline to see if you qualify for a CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
If you're on supplemental oxygen, heavy and awkward tanks can be a burden. Now you can leave home and leave the tanks behind with Inogen, portable oxygen therapy that moves with you.
With my Inogen, now I'm able to do the things that I've always loved. I just press the button here and there's my oxygen.
Inogen systems are so small and light, you're free to leave the house without the hassles of an oxygen tank.
I could play golf again. I could go grocery shopping. I'm free again.
With the Inogen, I can handle my own oxygen. I can carry my own oxygen. I go anywhere with this. Look how small it is.
And right now, you can try an Inogen portable oxygen system for 30 days risk-free. Call us right now. If you qualify, we'll send you an Inogen system to use for 30 days risk-free. Your insurance may even cover your new Inogen system.
If you're on oxygen, you need to be using an Inogen.
Call 800-367-1753. That's 800-367-1753.
Are you nearly maxed out on your credit cards? It doesn't matter if you're using your credit cards for fun or to survive. At the end of the month, your statements come in, and you can either pay them or you can't. If you can't, late fees and interest rates get tacked on. And now you're struggling just to make the minimum payment due. Do you feel trapped? Am I talking to you? Good, because I personally researched some companies that can help you. They may be able to reduce your credit card balances by 50% and stop the late fees. If you qualify, please call our special debt hotline number right now for a complimentary free 5-minute consultation. Deal with your credit card problem now before it gets much worse and put more money back in your pocket. Trust me, I've been there too. Call right now.
Call 855-993-2096 right now. That's 855-993-2096.
Hey folks, welcome back to Biz Talk. My name is Rick Gutierrez, your host and your business advocate. Hey, when I tell you that we've got some really great, people coming on board, these are people that have been in business for a long time, and we are having great conversations. And I've got another guest that is just going to highlight a particular challenge that she is launching, and we're just going to have a great conversation about what we've got coming up and what she's cooking. So, Nora, welcome back to the show.
Mike, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. It's like we were talking about, off air. We kind of have a recruiting weekly meeting, you and I, because we're almost, meeting every single week. So, but it's great because we have great conversations and we're helping people along the way as well.
Absolutely.
All right. So let's get started by having this conversation about this challenge that you guys are launching. I mean, you guys are working for nonprofit organizations, doing some really great things, helping them out with all of their finances, their books, getting them all in order and make sure that they have everything in line. But you've got something that's really special that's going to help nonprofits. So let's talk about that. Tell us all about that.
Sure. So one of the most challenging subjects for nonprofit is really sustainability, having funds all year long at all time. If you think about it, nonprofit should be actually a recession-proof, inflation-proof. They should have no problem. But this is under one condition, when they have their donor base. So in this challenge, we are going to have a 5 days challenge. So we're going to identify their ideal donors. We're going to help them craft their impact statement, tell them how should they connect with their ideal donors in order to start building that donor base. So that is the most challenging aspect, because people think when they start a nonprofit, they have to go get grants, and grants only portion of nonprofit funding. They should diversify their funding. And in my opinion, what I love the part of donations is the individual donors. Now, people get really tired and they don't want to ask people to donate money. But the way we're going to be teaching them on that challenge, it's going to be how to identify your ideal donors, people who are looking for you. You don't have to go look for them. They are looking for you. They want to find you, but you're going to help them find you. And those people are going to stay dedicated for your organization, staying loyal, and will be happy to give you more money. But in order to do that, you have to build your capacity. So in this challenge, we're going to introduce the main things that you have to maintain as a nonprofit. We're going to give you homework. So it's going to be 5 days starting July 23rd. That's going to be Tuesday. We're going to start at 11 a.m. Central. It's 1 hour every day until Saturday. So Tuesday until Saturday. And then on Saturday, there's a chance to be a VIB. When you are a VIB, you're going to have a private session, like group session with me. And we're going to send you a copy of my book. And you get to ask me questions during that VIB session. So I'm very excited for this challenge. I have never done it before. But I know, I am one of these people who are really get excited with a challenge. When you have a challenge, I want to be the first one. And I'm hoping to attract those people who really wants to be number one and want to actually get their nonprofit to next level.
Absolutely. So there are so many different strategies that, nonprofit organizations can go. But I believe that this is a great way of generating sponsors, donors, and getting where you need to be, because with this challenge, we wish that everything could come easy, but it doesn't come easy. We all have to work at what we want, to get what we want in life. And so it's no different in business. In business, we definitely do want to put all of the effort forward, get with specialized experts that can show us the way, potentially give us some homework, and that's fine, but we have to do the work. We have to do the work and we have to get it done. So I appreciate that you are putting that together, and it's the first time for everything, right? You say it's your first one, but I think it's the first of many.
Yes, exactly. I'm very excited. I usually have a master class where I stay with people like 2 hours, but I'm like, okay, enough with this class right for now. Let's do the challenge, because this is the time for nonprofits to prepare, because there's a study issued last year on the 2022 year of 2022 that says 64% of funding comes from individual donations. And not only that, 30% of funding comes to organization on December. So in December, you get a chance to get 30% of funding, and then 10% in the last 3 days of the year. So there's no better time for the nonprofit organization to start building their donor base, to start hyping up their fundraising effect, because December is not here. We have almost or 5 months to go. So you still have time to be prepared.
Absolutely. So 5 months are going to go by really fast, right? So we are, at the right time in the right place right now, where we've got the expert that can lead us in, getting organized and getting all of that stuff done. So it is the right time. I believe that you starting this challenge is the right time right now. 5 months gives us plenty of time to get with you, do your challenge, and get all of that done. So let's talk a little bit more about Nora's books, because this challenge is being sponsored obviously by Nora's books, right? So for those that have not watched the show before and have not heard of Nora's books before, tell us a little about your organization and how you help those nonprofits with your Nora's book services.
So Nora's Books is tax and accounting firm, and we do have a coaching arm for the firm. So we do help nonprofit organizations as a fractional CFO. So we do offer CFO services for nonprofits. We do offer bookkeeping. We do offer tax preparation. We do start nonprofit organization if someone wants to start. We also reinstate the exempt status if someone needs to reinstate the exempt status, because a lot of organizations lose their exempt status, unfortunately, for various reasons. The most common reason is they're not filing taxes and they start getting those penalties. So we help them reinstate that. And if they have a problem with the IRS or penalty, we can help them communicate with the IRS to hopefully remove those penalties and getting them waived, so they can work on that. And then we help them also to build their donor base through the 7-Figure Nonprofit Mastermind. It's a 12-month coaching program we developed through my 20 years plus in experience with nonprofits. I put everything I learned into that coaching program, where you can access the program. There's a recording. There are tools in when you log into the program. There's a lot of tools and strategies you can apply. And I don't want to leave people who enter that program alone. So I hold their hands in order for 12 months. So I'm available for them in group coaching call and in the community as well, to help them implement the strategies correctly and take their nonprofit to the next level. This is the signature program. I do have also different courses for nonprofits and for tax professionals or tax and accounting professionals who would like to offer services for nonprofits, because nonprofit is really an area that does not get a lot of attention from tax and accounting professionals. So, and a lot of in education basis, people don't have a lot of knowledge about it. I took an exam with the CPA when I was getting my CPA, and an exam when I was getting my enrolled agent, and both of them actually do not cover nonprofits well enough. While if you go look at the IRS website, you find the entire section, like it's a huge section, even bigger than the business and individual section, in my opinion. Right. For nonprofit, for charity organizations. So it's a lot of compliance work. It's a lot of things. So I did offer this training they are available online. You can, on demand, people can access them for both nonprofit and tax and accounting professional who wants to work with nonprofits. So that's mainly what we are focusing on right now. Of course, we still do bookkeeping and CFO services for business owners, because we believe also you can make an impact in your business, in your own business. You don't have to be a nonprofit to make an impact. So we do have a variety of service, and the best way to get in touch with me, actually, to book a call and see how we can work with you and what we can offer.
That is the reason why I wanted you to showcase, Nora's books and what you guys do and what you guys focus on, because it is an amazing platform. It is an amazing service. It's basically a one-stop shop for nonprofits and businesses, in general, to get all of their books in order and to get them on. Nora, we always have a great conversation every time you come to the show. I want to thank you for coming on to the show once again.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. It's always fun to be here with you.
Likewise, it's always fun. It's always a great conversations, and I'm sure this won't be the last time. So we'll see you again in an upcoming episode.
See you then. All right.
All right, folks, that is it for this segment. We are going to go into a quick commercial break. Stay right there. We'll be right back.
Are you nearly maxed out on your credit cards? It doesn't matter if you're using your credit cards for fun or to survive. At the end of the month, your statements come in, and you can either pay them or you can't. If you can't, late fees and interest rates get tacked on. And now you're struggling just to make the minimum payment due. Do you feel trapped? Am I talking to you? Good, because I personally researched some companies that can help you. They may be able to reduce your credit card balances by 50% and stop the late fees. If you qualify, please call our special debt hotline number right now for a complimentary free 5-minute consultation. Deal with your credit card problem now before it gets much worse and put more money back in your pocket. Trust me, I've been there too. Call right now.
Call 855-993-2096 right now. That's 855-993-2096.
Do you have a car sitting around you want to get rid of? Well, here's a great idea. Donate your car now to help local veterans in your area. Yes, just make one fast call to the Veteran Car Donation Program. Within a few days, we'll come and remove your car for free. You can donate any car in any condition. We'll use our vast network to sell it. The proceeds raised go to help local veterans and their families. And you get a tax deduction. And all you need to do is make this free call. Clean your yard up, get rid of an old car, and help the vets. We make it easy. Make this free call now. Book your fast and easy pickup. Call the Veteran Car Donation Program now.
If you're on supplemental oxygen, heavy and awkward tanks can be a burden. Now you can leave home and leave the tanks behind with Inogen, portable oxygen therapy that moves with you.
With my Inogen, now I'm able to do the things that I've always loved. I just press the button here, and there's my oxygen.
Inogen systems are so small and light, you're free to leave the house without the hassles of an oxygen tank.
I could play golf again. I could go grocery shopping. I'm free again.
With the Inogen, I can handle my own oxygen. I can carry my own oxygen. I go anywhere with this. Look how small it is.
And right now, you can try an Inogen portable oxygen system for 30 days risk-free. Call us right now. If you qualify, we'll send you an Inogen system to use for 30 days risk-free. Your insurance may even cover your new Inogen system.
If you're on oxygen, you need to be using an Inogen.
Call 800-367-1753. That's 800-367-1753.
Welcome back to Biz Talks. My name is Ray Gutierrez. I'm your host and your business advocate. Hey, we are having a great conversation in this episode of Biz Talk. We've got great people that are coming on board, just business people that have extensive knowledge in their industry, and we've got another great expert that is going to be talking to us about communication, wireless, and all of those great things. Mr. Jim Bradfield, welcome back to the show, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you. And this is how great communication is, because if I'm not mistaken, sir, you are somewhere in the big island of Hawaii. Is that correct?
I am. I'm out at a customer client site over in the Big Island in their conference room.
So that's how great the work, over the folks over at NAS Wireless does, because since you guys were able to provide all of that, wireless communications to your clients, you're able to use it right now, and just like you're sitting right here on the studio, we're having a live conversation.
Yeah, that's right.
That's fantastic. Well, welcome back to the show. We always have a great conversation. You always educate us quite a bit on everything that has to do with communication, and then your extensive background in your industry is very impressive, and I know that our viewers are going to, continue to get additional knowledge every time that you are on the show. So let's talk a little bit about your company, how you've supported the healthcare industry for many years now. Let's provide a brief summary of the types of healthcare facilities in which you specialize in.
Yeah, so we work actually worldwide. Right now, as you said, I'm in the Hawaiian Islands working with a healthcare group, and we've done uh, hospitals, we do entire campuses, we do entire medical groups that span, nationwide, even worldwide. Pretty much anything that has to do with the healthcare industry. We support everything like, you know, uh, Mexican. They have Mexican clinics. They have a lot of indigent care clinics and things like that, and we support all of those kind of things down in obviously in Mexico and a lot of emerging countries. And we handle pretty much everything from all their wireless to, their even a wireless in the shops, the wireless for specialty things like the emergency rooms, handling their things they call CALs, which is computer on wheels, and we work in the operating rooms, which is a very special environment with the IoT devices connected wirelessly. And then we work with portable X-ray machines. We work especially on the triage centers for hospitals. If they have a mass disaster or something like that, they'll have an outdoor area in the parking lot roped off. It's kind of like, probably a football field wise kind of thing. And we support all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I can only imagine how many pieces, how many devices are connected to a wireless network that you guys have implemented. And I got to tell you, I mean, I've been in hospitals, many times in my life, and to see that technology continue to improve to where medical devices are being used that are connected to the wireless, and you are the one, your company is the one responsible for making this happen. Phenomenal stuff, my friend. I appreciate everything that you guys do. Let's talk a little bit about some of the concerns, within the healthcare facility with patient care and safety being at the top of mind. Elaborate a little bit more on the type of network issues that you commonly address that are, affecting the health, wellness, and the safety of patients and staff.
Yeah. So what kind of things happen in a hospital is that networks go out, and a lot of the times they don't have a full IT staff, or they do have an IT staff, but they're more concerned about the machinery and the biomed, that kind of stuff. So our team supports all of the efforts within the network. That could be wireless, that could be networking, that could be the security, almost anything like that. Now, one of the things that happens is that there's patient record issues. Patient records can be in just a piece of paper, on a pad, which sometimes have RFID tags on them and things like that. So they need a special network for that. You also would have a patient record. Maybe it's like on your phone, actually, right? And you actually have a software that's on a regular phone that actually the nurses can bring up software that talks about all the patient records, gives all the details on that patient. And that has to be a specialized network, because otherwise it won't come up. It's got to come up everywhere within the hospital. And the other kinds of things are interoperability of the networks. There's a lot of times when this network maybe works really well, but it was a completely different installed network. Maybe these guys installed something else over here, but they can't communicate. So we make sure that everything communicates together, especially when there are medical devices that have wirelessly enabled devices inside them, like we call it, again, a computer on wheels or a mobile card or something like that. A lot of that stuff doesn't actually connect well on the network, and it can't support the brand new wireless that happens. So we make sure that everything is looked at and run through, make sure that everything's connected and works flawlessly, most of the time. Now, what happens is there could also be outdoor interference. We've seen it where there's, the cable that's right outside the window of an ER, for example, could interfere with the RF in the data, and that's a really big deal. And the other kinds of things that happen is, you've got an MRI room or something like that that's a control room with leaded glass. It's almost impossible to get through that, and it also has thick walls to protect the operators and things like that. So we know how to work within those rooms to get the RF that's needed to actually function, which is it's kind of a trick actually, but it actually works really well. So that's one of the really special things. And again, the thing that really is a key is patient safety. And you do things like RFID tagging for a patient, for a baby. I think we talked about that before. That's just to make sure that the baby is monitored throughout the hospital. It can be taken off the grounds pretty quickly. And that's, 3 out of 4 abductions for children is in a nursery. So they make sure that those guys are really carefully monitored. They're monitored back and forth to the moms. They're monitored all over the hospital. We do that for, we build networks for the RFIDs for making sure that patients with disabilities who have maybe mobility problems and can't walk, ALS type of patients or something, and also dementia ward patients, they need a special bracelet, just to make sure that everybody knows where they are in the hospital. So we provide all of those services, everything that works within the whole hospital. And we also work with all the departments in the hospital, not just the medical staff, but also the biomed people, because you've got to test all their machinery as well. If you just put a network up willy-nilly, it's not going to necessarily work. And that's going to be the real big issue. It's going to either interfere or not work at all. And so you've got to make sure that you test all the document IDs things, all of the IoT things, all of the things that the biomed guys are going to want to have on the wireless.
Absolutely. So that's the reason why we have such experts like you, man, because you guys know exactly what you're doing. But there is one question that I do have, in terms of patient records, compliance with HIPAA laws and regulations and things like that. What are you guys doing to ensure that through this wireless networks that patient records are maintained safe and secure?
Well, not only internally do we have, we have every kind of internal security that you can imagine on the RF, on the network, and that kind of thing. But one of the things that happens is people actually leave back doors open. When I say a back door to the network, I'm talking about, there's an open area where they can log in remotely from their house. Sometimes that is secure, but the other times what happens is you don't have the same security at your house. So if you're logging in remotely and into that network and you leave a back door open, well, bad guys can get in. And that is what happens to a lot of people. So we run a compliance audit on the entire network just to make sure there's no back doors open, that there's nothing that's going on that shouldn't be there. The biggest deal aside from safety is the patient records. And that's actually a big deal for safety as well, because bad actors can get that and they can mess with mess with their date of birth. They can mess with their ID. They can mess with their bank account. They can even mess with whatever medicines are given. So that's one of the big deals we do too, is compliance on networks.
Absolutely. So that's the reason why we wanted to have these conversations with you, because the expertise are, we're talking about decades of expertise in this field, and that's the reason why you have clients all over the world. So that is amazing. Jim, we want to thank you for being on the show. Once again, it's always a great conversation, and we learn every single week, from you a little bit every single week. So it's amazing. We can't help, to ask you these questions, but it's for the greater good of the people that are watching so that we can all educate ourselves. And we look forward to having you in upcoming shows.
Looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
All right, we appreciate you. All right, folks, that concludes this week's episode. We definitely do want to appreciate and thank all of the guests that were on the show today. Hopefully you got some insights, you took down some notes, and we look forward to being with you next week with another panel of great experts. Until next time, take care of each other.
This has been a Now Media Networks feature presentation. All rights reserved.
Do you have diabetes? If you have insurance, you may qualify for a new continuous glucose monitor. With a CGM, you can continuously track your levels and trends, spend more time in range, significantly lower your A1C, and share important data with loved ones and caregivers.